listen to the other.
You've gotta have art.
All you really need is art. When those little things in life make you frown, come on down and get a start. First you gotta have art. A great Rembrandt, look what we've got. A great Rodin, look what we've got. A great museum, look what we've got. Films, food, puppets, and shots, yeah, we've got art. Miles and miles and miles of art. When those little things in life make you low, you ought to see men go and take heart. So what's the heck's the use of waiting? Come down here now.
Painting has this kind of, you could paint in a very slick way, like with an airbrush, or very fine, or you could paint in a way where you really kind of show all the work. I mean, because I don't know if anyone ever captures someone's essence in a painting. I paint a lot of people. I paint portraits all the time. And I find that a painting could capture a certain aspect of a person, but not an absolute essence. I don't know, because we're all so complicated. So, I mean, what is a person's essence? I don't know if that we can really define that. So when she's painting me, which isn't too often, she's done a few paintings, I don't think she's so much interested in that aspect. I don't think she's like interested in the psychological quality. I think she's more interested in certain phenomena that she sees, like color patches and things like that, or the tilt of my head.
Okay, what's the surprise?
So the surprise is you're selling a painting. One of your little nudies.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Which one?
I'll show it to you.
Oh. Oh.
Whose work? So she loves this painting.
Oh. Oh.
So that's the one.
Oh.
Isn't that nice?
I loved doing these, and I'm so pleased that the person picked this particular one because it's not obvious. It's not an obvious painting, but I just felt that women could recognize those positions. And of course, anybody who ever saw nude women and had any relationship with them would recognize the positions, because most of the time we see things in media in a certain configuration, which is not the configuration that we go around spending our lives in. Women generally at a certain age start to feel the pain right around that area, so that was part of it. And the thing that interested me was the challenges of doing a particular segment of a figure. And what happened was we were interested in the older woman's body. Older women generally are heavier, and especially if they've had children, and so that they don't have any image of themselves in the media. And so we decided to redo Venus. It was called Reconstructing Venus, and this was part of the Venus Project. Reality, you don't have to stand up or be in a sexy pose to be erotic. It would probably look very similar. The only difference was our age. The age difference, I've always had a problem with age in the sense that I never saw people in terms of age. And it turns out that Robert also, he will tell you that he doesn't have an age distinction. So we met not only on the art, but I think we also met on the fact that he always thought of himself as an old man, even when he was young. And we've been together since 1973. It's quite, I think Robert said 42 years.
Well, we first met as student and teacher. I think the thing that really made me interested in her was she was teaching painting, and it was the only art class in the school that looked really serious and really interesting, and I was already interested in art. And then I saw her paintings, which actually were in this exhibition, the Smile series, and I thought, wow, this is real art. Mrs. Exler is a real artist. That's and, so I felt like I really, for the first time in my life, met a real artist who had very original ideas, and that made me very interested in her. And we got friendly over art and over arguing. We argued all the time. I didn't tell my family. First of all, it was too dangerous because, we were very close, and we started going to art museums together, we started going to spending days together, going to see movies together, but we didn't have a romantic relationship. It was, more like a very admiring student with a wonderful teacher, sort of like a mentor, take me under a wing. And, I had Szechuan food for the first time, and we went to Atlantic Avenue and I had Arabic food. I never ate these kinds of, my parents were not very sophisticated, and I had no exposure to this kind of stuff. So all of a sudden, like, the world was literally opening up, with this wonderful person. And we did more and more, and, we were starting to spend more and more elective time together on weekends, and we went on a camping trip together, and our relationship was mutating in a way into something much more personal. And then at one point, I remember Jenny was driving and we were in Manhattan, and she said to me, "I love you." I said, "Oh, I love you too. Of course I love you." She says, "No, but I'm in love with you." And she prefaced it by saying, "Oh, you're going to think this is crazy, and you could completely reject it." And I remember looking out the window of the car with this big grin on my face, thinking, "Oh, I never thought of it that way," like as a possibility. And I turned around and said, "Well, I'm in love with you too." So it was mutual, from that point. And then the relationship really changed. It became a physical relationship as well.
Wow. When I told Robert that I loved him in that, in a real way, I was expecting him to reject me, and I said that would be the best thing for me because he'll laugh. I said to him on the way back home, I said that people are getting the idea that there's something romantic going on between us. And he said, "Oh, that's like terrible. That's like my being in love with my aunt, or being together with my Aunt Gertrude." And that just cracked me up. I laughed so hard at that time. But he didn't want to go home. He wanted to go into my studio in the basement and paint. So I said, "All right, you can stay over and you could paint." And I was painting in the same place, and he was painting. And all of a sudden, I began to realize something had changed. And And so I thought I would tell him that, and that he would say again, like, oh my God, that's like my Aunt Gertrude, and that would be such a turnoff, that would be the end of it. But instead, he didn't say that. And a friend of mine, another teacher, said to me, well, how could you go off with someone that young? He's going to, or her husband said this, he's going to leave her. After a few years, he wouldn't want to hang around an older woman. He'll be in his 20s and he'll want to go, with someone his own age. So I told that to Robert, and Robert said, oh no, he says, I really have the soul of an old man. I'm 90 years old, and I will be getting younger, but I'm starting out old, and I have nothing to offer you, but you have everything to offer me. And I was so impressed with that, because that's what he was like. If you know Robert, and you can see it in his work, love is very important to him. And he doesn't see that separation between love and sex. Oh, yes, this painting, I think, is remarkable. In the painting, I'm actually watching Robert paint. And every day, whatever he did to the painting, it became more and more me. It was like an amazing miracle. It was an experience of someone coming alive on the canvas. And when he finished it, I said, my God, I feel she could get up from the chair and walk away, and that's really me.
We were, Sam, her first husband, was away. And we were staying in his apartment on Carmine Street with her older daughter, Judith, who was living there. And, because he probably was involved with that, with
Not yet.
a woman.
Not yet.
Anyway, so this woman, I think she knew someone who knew you and heard about us, and she said, "Oh, I'm thinking about producing this segment for
Stanley Siegel.
Not Stanley Siegel. What? Stanley Siegel. Okay, Stanley Siegel." And we never heard of him because we didn't have television, and we never watched daytime TV, even if we had television. So
And since we were leaving the city, we thought that it's okay to be on local television, because that was local. We thought it was channel 7 or 9 or 11.
it was it was 7. Okay. He said, "What was your mother's reaction to your relationship when she found out?" And I said, which is true. She said, "It's disgusting." And that's when they cut for the break, for the ad. And that cracked up the whole crew. Everybody was laughing. I mean, it's not like we were crowded and we were overnight famous people, but people, would come up to us and say, "Oh, I saw you on Stanley Siegel, and you were wonderful, and I think that was great," and then we went on this trip, and we actually got recognized by someone in New Orleans who saw it and said, "Oh, I saw you on Stanley Siegel." And there was a woman in Italy who had seen it too that we got friendly with, remember? It's so funny. And that was years later, but she remembered it.
And the life I wanted was to travel. My husband did not like to travel. That was the only thing really wrong with him. He did not like to travel. I wanted to travel. I wanted to go to art museums and other cities all over the world. I wanted to see art in the churches in Italy. There were so many things I wanted to do which I knew I wouldn't do. With Robert, that's what our life was like. And I knew that if I was with Robert, I would be fulfilled as an artist. And I couldn't give that up.
And this is a funny picture. Because I'm holding this bag in my hand. And the bag is filled with humus, dirt. We found this tree, this rotting tree in a park near the art museum, because we got there so early in the morning. So we were walking around the park, killing time, and we saw this rotting tree and this rich, beautiful, black humus. And we had houseplants. So we decided, we had a bag from our lunch the previous day, a bag that had our bread in it, and we filled it up with all this humus, and I'm carrying it all over during this trip to bring this wonderful soil back home.
We shared something that was very, very unusual, and it's hard for a painter to married to someone who's not a painter. The other person is not going to want to keep hearing about art and painting, and after a while it gets to be that you cannot impose your own obsession on another person, especially someone you love. And that doesn't mean that you can't love someone who is not a painter like you are, but somehow it makes it easier.